guys, it's Sarah. I do not have a book haul today, I promise. No book hauls. But I am going to talk to you about some books that I have added to my TBR, books that I've added to my wish list, books that I have pulled from my shelves that I already own, all because of the virtual reading retreat that we just had. So we just had our very first virtual reading retreat that was hosted by myself, Lindsay from Lindsay's Little Library, Krista from Books and Jams, and Amanda from The Curly Reader. And we hosted a 24-hour readathon that was incredible. It went so much better than any of us were expecting, and we had the best time. It was amazing. It really was. We really felt so connected to everybody, and we had fun and did different things, and we read. I read half of a book in 24 hours, which is amazing. And it was just, there's no words, you guys. And the outpouring of love that we felt is something else. I can tell you that. So we were all very emotionally overwhelmed after it was over. So, okay. But during that whole time, do you know how many books I wrote down? Which I was expecting, but oh my gosh. Okay. So we had a few different opportunities for book recommendations. We had a couple of sessions where everybody who registered had 2 minutes to pitch a book to us and to recommend a book to everybody. So they were able to pick one book, and you had 2 minutes to kind of sell it to everybody in the group. And I was taking copious notes during that because at the end of the retreat, I made a reference list for everybody that we sent to them afterwards. So everybody has that full list. So I was writing down the ones that I was personally interested in as they were talking. And so I have a list. So I'm going to share that list with you. And then some of them even were books that I already owned, which is awesome. So if a book was recommended that I already owned, I wrote that down too. So I was like, okay, let's make those priorities now because people are recommending them and I have them already. Let's do this. So those are definitely books that I'm going to be keeping kind of closer on my radar. And then all the other ones I just added to Amazon wish list, and I'll get to them at some point, hopefully. I could even get them from my library if I want to, but we'll see how it all goes. But they're definitely ones that I want to read now. So this is a combination of those 2-minute pitches and also just some ones that were mentioned throughout the reading retreat at some point in time that just sounded interesting to me. So here we go. I'm going to share them. These are the ones that I'm interested in. Oh man, there's a lot. Okay, we'll start with the ones that I do not own. The first one is Al Capone Does My Shirts by Jennifer Koldenko. This is a middle grade series actually, and it's about a young boy whose family moves to Alcatraz while it's open and there are prisoners in there because his father gets a job there. So I think he's living in Alcatraz, and he meets Al Capone because Al Capone is there while he's there. So that just sounded so interesting to me in a cute little middle grade. I'm in. So I definitely wrote that one down. Okay. Devolution by Max Brooks, which is really interesting because 2 people were going to share this in their 2-minute pitch. So the first one that went, the other one was like, oh man, I was going to say that one. So she had to pick a different book. But how cool is that? So definitely 2 people, were going to pitch that one as a recommendation. So I had previously checked this out for my library, and I wasn't able to get to it in the time frame that I had it, and I couldn't recheck it out. So I just took it back, and it just never happened. But now I'm really interested. And I've also heard really good things about the audiobook, so I might be doing that. Okay, so Devolution is about, is it a sci-fi? Maybe. I think it's a sci-fi / horror a little bit. It's about Bigfoot. And I think from what I was remembering, what they were saying was that a volcano explodes in this area. And in the aftermath of that, a tribe of big feet, am I saying that right? Sasquatches are coming in and terrorizing the neighborhood. And I'm like, why haven't I read this? This sounds like I would love that. So, okay. The Wrong Family by Taryn Fisher. And I got a confirmation from Krista that she thinks I would personally like this book. So this is a thriller. I think it's a domestic thriller for sure. And I have not read anything by Taryn Fisher yet. I have 2 of her books. The Wrong Family is not one of them, but I do have 2 of her books that I would like to read. And that one would definitely be on my radar if I just, yeah, I don't know what's wrong with me. But let's see. The Reading Promise by Alice Ozma. This one is a nonfiction, and this one is about a girl whose father made a promise to her that he would read to her every single night. It didn't matter what was going on in their lives, where they were, what was happening, even if he did it over the phone. It even went into college, and it was like the books that they were reading together and that they were experiencing together. The synopsis sounded amazing and not like a tearjerker, so yeah. Okay, The Last Quintista by Donna Barba Higuera. This one was definitely already on my radar to pick up at some point. I just haven't picked it up yet. But this is a middle grade sci-fi that most recently won the Newbery Award. And it is about a young girl who, I believe they leave Earth because I want to say it's like collapsing or something. Or maybe she's just going to help populate a new planet. Maybe that's what it is. But it's something where she leaves Earth to go live on a new planet. And I think they're all put into comas or something like that to help them travel safely. And when she wakes up, she's the only one who wakes up who remembers Earth. No one else remembers. Their memories have all been wiped or gone or something like that, but she's the only one who remembers. So she's trying to keep that preservation alive. A Light from Other Stars by Erica Swyler. This is another science fiction. Apparently I'm writing down all the science fiction. And this, I know it's a dual timeline thing. The way that it was described is almost like an alternate universe, possibly. I don't know. When she was describing it, it sounded so intriguing, so I definitely wrote it down. But yeah. Okay, The Fourth Monkey by J.D. Barker. This is actually a thriller series. It's a trilogy. And there was just like all the descriptions of it. I was like, yes. Like, I don't even remember what it was. I just wrote it down. I was like, read this. So yeah, I went ahead and wrote that down. I think that's a little bit of an older one, but if a book is good, it's good, right? Okay, The Overnight Guest by Heather Gudenkauf is another thriller, and she's an author that I have a couple of books from. I don't have this one, but I know she writes thrillers, and I feel like this has something to do with like a overnight like hotel or cabin or something, and it's in the middle of winter. It's like an isolated type thing. So, okay, The Keeper of Lost Causes by Jessie Adler Olson. Yeah, Olson. This one is the start to a detective series, actually, and it's one that I also heard about on the Currently Reading podcast. So this is the second time I've heard about this one, and I'm like, maybe I should look into this. I'm not huge on detective series, to be honest, but I'm willing to give them a try. Okay, Local Woman Missing by Mary Kubica is definitely one that is on my radar because I have read from her before, and I really liked what I read, and I want to read. Like, I'll read all her books. So this one is, I think, her most recent. So, and I've heard really, really good things about it, and it was definitely recommended here. Okay, this one I'd never heard of. It's called When I Was 10 by Fiona Cummins. And this one is following a girl whose parents are killed in a double murder, and she was put away for 8 years. In a detention facility. So she's either accused of it, or maybe they couldn't prove it, but they didn't want to put her in foster care or something. But now we're following her as an adult, and you start finding out what happened back there, because I believe that someone is giving a very explosive interview on the anniversary of her trial that is gonna like maybe blow everything out of the water. So yeah, but I'd never heard of this book, and I am very intrigued by it. Okay, this next one is Be Frank With Me. This is by Julia Claiborne Johnson, and I have seen this cover, but I never knew what the book was about. And now that I know what the book is about, I really want to read it. So this follows a woman who, I think she's an author, and she is being pressured, I think, to finish a series or to write another book or something. So she ends up bringing someone in to help her with her child so she can concentrate on writing. And the child is very much an old soul inside of him. He wears old-fashioned clothes, including a top hat. He uses old-fashioned language, and he's just quirky, if you will. And so I think it's about the babysitter and this child's relationship and getting to know each other and, all that kind of thing. So it sounded so sweet, and I want to know what this is all about. So I added it. Okay, next one is The Darkest Child by Dolores Phillips. This one, I love the cover. Oh my gosh. But this one is about a young girl who is born into a very large family, and she has the darkest color of skin out of all her siblings, and she is looked down upon it because of that. Especially by her mother, who I believe is possibly borderline abusive, if not full out abusive. And it's about her just trying to make her way and trying to get an education for herself. And she runs into a lot of struggles because of her family holding her back, basically. So it sounded really good. Okay, the last one I don't own, this is interesting, is The 13th Tale by Diane Setterfield. I've read this book. However, I don't remember it. And I remember when I read it afterwards, I felt like I should have liked that more than I did. I don't remember loving it. But I felt like I should have, based on the premise and based on other books I've read that are like that I have loved. And I didn't understand why I didn't like that one so much. But the fact that I can't even really remember it or be able to tell you why says something. So this book was recommended and then talked about so much that a lot of people were saying they wanted to do a big buddy read. So we're going to do a big buddy read together. We're getting a group together and we're going to read it all together. So I'm joining in on that for sure. And I'm going to reread it and see what I think. I don't have a copy anymore, which I'm kind of bummed about. I wish I had kept my copy. So I'm going to have to find it. I know it's on Kindle Unlimited. And I could also get it from my library if I want to. So either or. But I will be reading that. I'm not sure when we're going to do it, but we're going to do that at some point. And so whenever everyone's ready to start, I'll jump in and I'm going to reread that one. But I did write it down because I wanted to remember that this is where that kind of sparked that desire for me. Okay, so those are all books that I do not own, that I added to my wish list. I added to my library list. I will get them at some point, and I definitely want to read them. So that is the stuff that I don't own. Now, I do have a stack here of books that were recommended that I do own and that have kind of pushed them up to like, hey, maybe I should read these soon because they were just talked about. The first one is Firekeeper's Daughter. This is by Angeline Booley. This I got from the Book of the Month. And this is a young adult mystery. Is it a thriller? I don't know. I haven't heard anyone say that this was like particularly thrilling, more like a mystery, but it does follow an Indigenous community, and there are some drugs coming in that are infiltrating and harming people, and we're following a young girl who's trying to prevent that from happening because it's hurting her loved ones. That's all I know. So, but yeah, it was recommended. Like, this was the first one recommended. Another one is What She Left Behind by Ellen Marie Wiseman. This is a historical fiction that is a dual timeline, and it follows a woman who is hired to go through some documents from an old abandoned asylum. And as she's going through these documents, she's learning what was happening to the women that were forced to be at this asylum years ago. And what she finds is very disturbing, and she even finds her own little link into the past. So I have read Ellen Marie Wiseman before, and she wrote one of my favorite books, which is The Life She Was Given. That's a circus book, and I absolutely loved that book. So I'm definitely excited to read this one as well. I've heard very good things about it. Another one was Homegoing by Ya Gassi, and this is also another historical book that follows two sisters who are, I think they were coming from Africa to America, and this is multi-generational, and you kind of find out what happens with this family and over generations, and there's definitely slavery happening in here, so that's a big thing. But I've heard that this book is amazing, and the writing is beautiful. So I need to read it. Okay, next one. Now this was a sell, you guys. Okay, Assassin's Apprentice by Robin Hobb. Now, if you've been here since 2016, you'll know that I've already read this book. So why is it on the list? Because I need to reread it because I do not remember this book. I remember reading it. I read it in 2016 in the summer. We were at Disney World when I read this book. This is what I took with me to Disney World. Why did I do that? I was so brain dead after Disney World. Why did I think I was going to be able to read an epic high fantasy? Oh, sweet little baby child, Sarah. Let me tell you, so naive, that one. So I need to reread it because I do not remember this book. I remember I gave it 5 stars. I don't understand what's happening. So I need to go through it and I need to read it again, like with my eyeballs. I need to read it. And I plan to do that because I do want to read Robin Hobb. I want to read her World of the Elderlings books. I have the first 2 trilogies, starting with this one. And this is the shortest book probably that she's written. So like, if I'm going to reread something, it's going to be this one. That's great. So I need to like reread this and then like not stop. So I don't have to reread a book this big because that's how big they start getting. But let me tell you, the girl who was talking about this sold me on it again. Made me go, oh my gosh, why am I not reading those? What is wrong with me? So definitely want to read this one again. The next one is one that I actually have on my Kindle, and that is Boy's Life by Robert McCammon. I downloaded this onto my Kindle. I think I got it for a deal, I'm sure, and it was recommended, and it is a coming of age, and just some of the buzzwords that she was using to describe this book made me kind of perk up and go, ooh, that sounds really good. It's also a really, really, like, if the paperback is really big, but I do have it on my Kindle, so I'll give it a try there first. But yeah, so definitely got me interested in this one. And the next one is A History of Wild Places by Shay Earnshaw. Definitely something on my radar. I got this one from Book of the Month as well. And this is like, I think it's like a magical realism. There's cults. There's a mystery. There's a dead body, I think. There's like a secret living quarters that no one knows about. And yeah, this one has intrigued me for so long. Well, since it came out, and I've had it on my shelf, so definitely want to read this one. Okay, this one is like a no-brainer. I want to read it. I mean, I want to read all of them. What am I saying? Why do I keep saying that? Fool Me Once by Ashley Winstead. This is a romance that is written by someone who has written thrillers that I have loved. And her new one is in my hands, and I am so excited to read that one. And that one's a thriller as well, but this one is a contemporary romance. So I love that it is an author that is crossing genres, and I love to see that because I love to see how authors who would normally write something different would write in a different genre, and just kind of what that would bring out. So, but this was recommended, and I'm very excited to read it. At some point I will, for sure. But yeah. The other one that's on my Kindle is The Nothing Man. This is by Catherine Ryan Howard, and I have definitely heard really good things about this serial killer book, which I really enjoy. And I think it's a book within a book as well. And I've heard really good things about it, and it was mentioned more than once. Another one that was brought up was If You Tell by Greg Olson. This is a nonfiction book. I think it's a mother and how she abused her children. So, but I have it. I've heard really good things about it. Again, it's on my Kindle. So, yeah. And the last one I have is Jar of Hearts by Jennifer Hillier. And I even have a bookmark because I bought this on Pango, and the girl who sent it to me had a little bookmark in there, so I kept it in here so I could use it when I read it. But I have read Jennifer Hillier recently. I read her most recent release and really enjoyed it. So this is definitely one that I want to read, and I've heard that this is like cream of the crop for her. So definitely want to read it, and it was definitely brought up as, if you want to read Jennifer Hillier, here you go. You want Dark and Messed Up, here you go. And I was like, yes, it's on my shelves. So yeah. Okay, guys, that's it. That's a lot of books. But man, I mean, you want to talk about bucket being filled? I knew I was going to get a lot of recommendations and I knew I was going to write a lot of stuff down, but whoa, it was fantastic. And I loved that some of them were books that I've already purchased. Like, I'm already interested and you're just pushing me to want to get to them a little bit sooner. So I love that. All right. Let me know your thoughts down below. Let me know if you recommend any of these, especially to me personally, knowing my reading taste. Let me know down below as well. Maybe that'll help me grab some of these a little earlier too. And yeah. All right. We will see you guys again soon. Hope you have a great day.